Good afternoon or evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Escondido City Council. Please rise for a moment of reflection and remain standing for the flag salute.
Please join me in a moment of reflection. In the midst of our responsibilities and decisions, may we be guided by wisdom, clarity, and integrity. May we speak with respect and act with a sincere commitment to serve the greater good of our community. May our work here tonight reflect unity of purpose, even in the times of disagreement, and may our choices contribute to the well-being, safety, and future of all those we represent. Let us proceed with humility, purpose, and a shared dedication to service. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, this meeting is called to order, and we'll do a quick roll call. Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Present.
Councilman Christian Garcia.
Here.
Councilwoman Martinez.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Joe Garcia.
Here.
And I, Mayor White, am here. If anybody is here for item 11 tonight, that has been continued to a future date, and we'll now move on to non-agenda public comments.
So we first have Maury Goldcheck. Sorry if I mispronounced that. No? Stephen Wheeler? No. Judy Davis? Oh.
Hello? Okay. My name is Judy Davis, and I'm here to tell you about Assistance League of Inland North County. We are an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization serving children and families in Escondido for over 40 years. Our thrift shop, located at 2068 East Valley Parkway, is our primary source of funding. Our 160 volunteers raised $360,000 to help over 20,000 people in need last year. Operation School Bell is our largest program, where students in grades TK through 12 are identified by the public schools and come to Penny's to shop for $100 to $150 worth of new school clothes and shoes. This gives kids confidence and encourages attendance and success in school. Our chapter gave $125,000 in scholarships to graduating high school seniors, nursing students, and EMTs at Palomar College and Cal State San Marcos. As a retired teacher from Juniper School, I'm part of our Ready, Set Reading program that reads one-on-one with elementary students who are struggling. We also have an auxiliary called Assist Teens, where teens in grades 6 through 12 volunteer and learn leadership skills to help others in our community. So please donate clothes and household items or shop at our thrift shop on Tuesdays and Fridays from 10 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon and the first Saturday of each month. Thank you for keeping Escondido safe and friendly for everyone.
Would you please leave your contact information with the clerk?
And then we have Heidi Whitman.
Good evening, Mayor White and City Council members. My name is Heidi Whitman, and I live directly across from the proposed Hamilton Lane project site. I want to formally notify the City Council tonight that I will be filing an appeal on the Planning Commission's approval. This property sits within the Chatham Brothers Barrel Yard contamination plume area, which is historically considered one of the most serious groundwater contamination sites in all of San Diego County, and remains an ongoing state Superfund site cleanup area with documented off-site plume migration. One of my major concerns is the city's reliance on a nearly 20-year-old environmental review from 2007 to approve a residential project in 2026 under substantially different environmental conditions. Despite the contamination history, the current environmental review does not appear to include modern on-site soil vapor monitoring or updated subsurface analysis tied to current contamination conditions. This is a serious public health concern when residential homes are being proposed in a known plume area. There are also sensitive uses nearby, including Bernardo Elementary School, located down gradient to the west, which makes updated environmental review and modern vapor analysis even more important. This project proposes substantial grading, including excavation and relocation of large embedded granite formations, construction of a bioretention infiltration basin, yet there does not appear to have been a full analysis of how this subsurface disturbance could interact with groundwater or vapor conditions. I have also been in communication with the Regional Water Quality Control Board, and my understanding is that they are now reviewing concerns related to this site and surrounding contamination conditions. Given the contamination history, the lack of vapor monitoring data on site, and the age of the environmental document being relied upon, I strongly believe this project warrants a full environmental impact report before any residential development moves forward. I respectfully ask the mayor and the city council to ensure the city is taking a true safety-first approach. Thank you.
We have James Stone.
First, Mayor White, City Council, thank you for hearing me yet again about the PAC and about the roundabout project. I'm back because I was threatened twice by a city employee, and this is my reaction to being threatened. In addition to being threatened twice, the PAC had a meeting where 21 people showed up, 12 people stood up and spoke and said they wanted to see the local artists, and that was totally ignored. Nothing was done about it. And I personally got signed petitions, 350 signatures, and I couldn't even get the city to take it. So I put together a little workbook for you and my reaction to the two times I was threatened. The first time I was threatened was before the RFQ was issued, and I was told that if I gift any one of you or anybody on the PAC an item that's more than $5, I'd be automatically disqualified. I didn't see that in the RFQ, and I don't know where that came from, but that was a face-to-face threat. So I'm giving you this book so you can see my last major project. It only cost me $4, so it's under the $5 limit. The second threat was about if I talk to any of you or anybody on the PAC about my project before the PAC had a chance to make their determination, I'd be automatically disqualified. So I thought that was kind of interesting because, once again, it wasn't in the RFQ. So I put together this little package for you. It's in 3 parts. The first part is the evidence, which would be admissible in court, of exactly what happened and why the PAC is not in charge of this. The employees of the city of Escondido are in charge. The second part, I have the matrix which they judged the artists, so you can see exactly what happened. The third part is my personal CV, because I was not allowed to put that into the RFQ. And the last part, even though I was not supposed to show you my concept, now that I'm not part of the finalists, I can show you my concept, and we talk about my concept. So I hope you all will take the opportunity to read that. I also gave you a little brochure about the after-school arts program I'm trying to put together, and this is about the campaign that I may institute about the RFQ being unfair. So that's what I had to say today. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy my book, and good luck on your journey.
I just want to make sure there's not Stephen Wheeler wanting to come up and speak. And then also Maury Golchek. Okay. No further.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the consent calendar. Tonight, items 1 through 9 are on consent, and I'll go ahead and move to approve and ask for a second.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. Anything else? Okay, please vote. Did you use that? The iPad? How about now?
Now. And it is approved 5-0.
Okay, that takes us to item 10, which is the pension obligation bond workshop. The time is yours.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and City Council members. My name is Christina Holmes, Director of Finance, and this evening I will be presenting a pension obligation bond workshop. The presentation will include an overview of CalPERS, an update on the unfunded accrued liability with CalPERS, discuss the options for issuing pension obligation bonds, and then conclude with next steps. There is no action requested from the City Council this evening. The purpose of the workshop is to provide the Council with an update on the City's obligations with CalPERS, including the unfunded accrued liability payments and the next steps for issuing pension obligation bonds. So we'll begin with an overview of CalPERS. Most cities in California, including Escondido, contract with CalPERS for their employees' retirement benefits. The city has two different plans with CalPERS. The first is the safety plan, and that is for the sworn police and fire employees. And then the second plan is what we refer to as the miscellaneous plan, which is for all other employees. Because the safety plan are for benefits for the sworn police and fire employees, these payments for this plan are 100% funded by the general fund. The miscellaneous plan also includes employees of the utility funds, so payments for this plan are funded by the general fund, as well as the water and wastewater fund. The City of Escondido is responsible for the retirement costs related to about 822 active members or current employees of the city. In addition to paying the costs of these active members, the city is also responsible for some portion of costs associated with transferred members. Those are former city employees still employed with a CalPERS employer. Separated or terminated members, those are former city employees not employed with a CalPERS employer but also not retired. And then retired members. Those are former employees that are now retired from the CalPERS system that could have retired as an active member, transferred member, or separated member. Every year, the city and employees contribute to CalPERS to pay for future retirement benefits. The city makes two payments to CalPERS each year. The first is what we call a normal cost payment, which is the annual cost for current employees. The second is the unfunded accrued liability payment. This is the amount owed to CalPERS to fully pay the benefits that it has committed to its employees and retirees. I'm going to discuss each type of payment further in the next slides. Starting with the CalPERS normal cost payment. The normal cost payment to CalPERS is based on a percentage of current employee salaries. CalPERS determines these rates each year based on their assumptions. The percentage contribution rates required by CalPERS, as you can see in these two charts, the chart on the left is for the miscellaneous plan, the chart on the right is for the safety plan. We're anticipating a decrease for this upcoming budget year, fiscal year 2027. Decreasing slightly from 10.83% to 10.47% for the miscellaneous plan, and from 21.66% to 20.98% for the safety plan. So this equates to about $12.9 million in normal cost payments citywide, and about $9.2 million for the general fund. So next is the unfunded accrued liability. This is defined as the difference between the city's retirement plan assets that's held with CalPERS and the amount that will be needed to be paid as a pension to employees in the future, referred to as the UAL. It is based on calculations provided by the CalPERS Actuarial Office that take into consideration factors including expected long-term returns on investments and the life expectancy of retirees. The UAL, which you can see in this table, combined with the safety and miscellaneous plans, totals $319 million, a little over that. That's not paid in 1 year. That's the UAL is amortized over about 20 to 30 years of annual payments. So CalPERS invests contribution payments with the goal of earning sufficient returns over the long term to pay defined benefits as promised and cover CalPERS expenses. This table shown here on the bottom shows the history of CalPERS investment returns going back to 2007 on the far left, and then with the most recent reporting year of fiscal year 2025, where CalPERS reported a net investment return of 11.6%. Historically, more than 60% of all funds paid to CalPERS retirees comes from investment earnings. The estimated long-term average return expected to be earned on investments is referred to as the discount rate and is currently set at 6.8% by CalPERS. When lower investment earnings occur, as it did in fiscal year 2022, CalPERS reported a net loss of 6.1%. Future contributions from the city must increase to make up the expected difference, and an unfunded accrued liability is created. This next chart shows the total annual unfunded liability payments projected to be paid for both the safety and miscellaneous plans. The safety plan is shown in orange at the bottom, and the miscellaneous plan in blue at the top. These annual amounts are determined by CalPERS. Annual payments can vary each year, but currently projected by CalPERS to be paid in fiscal year 2044.
The city manager would like to take a moment here and just point out that when we began this conversation, we were moving into the crest of the wave. As you'll see, we're completely in the cresting position of this particular wave of obligations, which means that we don't start to see the decline until after 2031-32, which is another reason why it was very, very fortunate that the citizens of Escondido gave us Measure I and the ability to invest now and stabilize the organization, because the accrued liability is now hitting us in its most aggressive form as it is in the projections.
And then this next chart shows the payments the general fund is obligated to pay. As I mentioned earlier, the general fund is responsible for 100% of the safety plan, and it's responsible for about 56% of the miscellaneous plan payments. So the remaining portion of the miscellaneous plan is funded by the water and wastewater funds. So for this upcoming fiscal year, in fiscal year 2027, there's a projected payment due from the general fund of about $25.7 million. That's a $2,800,000 increase from the prior fiscal year. There are over 630 full-time positions on the general fund, which make up about 84% of the total general fund operating budget. The CalPERS unfunded liability payment in fiscal year 2026, shown in the table, is about 19% of that budget. With this amount projected to increase for the next several years, that makes up a substantial portion of our general fund budget. Pension cost increases are one of the largest financial challenges facing most cities throughout the state and are primarily due to factors outside of the city's control, namely actuarial assumption changes made by CalPERS and below average investment returns. So back in January of 2018, the League of California Cities published a study on the CalPERS retirement system and listed options that cities may consider to address growing pension liabilities. And one of these is a pension obligation bond. So what are pension obligation bonds? This is defined as debt issued by the city to retire all or a portion of the unfunded accrued liability with the goal of reducing the future liability. This is achieved by issuing bonds at an interest rate that results in lower debt service payments than what is projected by CalPERS for future unfunded accrued liability payments. So bond essentially changes the structure of the debt. Instead of owing $320 million to CalPERS, the city would owe $320 million to investors if it were to issue a bond for the full liability. Currently, the city pays a rate to CalPERS of 6.8%. This would change to a bond rate, which is unknown until the bonds are actually issued. The unfunded accrued liability payments are recalculated by CalPERS each year, so future payments can vary. With the issuance of a bond, the rate and payments are fixed. Under both models, a new unfunded accrued liability owed to CalPERS can be created if CalPERS earns less in investment earnings than expected. And then the final payment currently projected for the city is in fiscal year 2044. The payment terms for bonds can be modified depending on the city's objectives. So pension obligation bonds are a tool that is available that do come with certain benefits and risks. And this next chart highlights some of the key benefits of pension obligation bonds. It is a fiscal sustainability tool in that the city has the ability to restructure these payments in a way that can lower costs and increase budget certainty. By creating more level payments, the city may be better able to manage pension obligations and create some budget certainty. Issuing bonds at market rates that are lower than what CalPERS charges on the UAL creates interest savings. The city has the flexibility to shorten or lengthen the repayment period to meet financial and policy objectives. And the restructuring may reduce the need to draw on reserves or services. There are also some risks associated with pension obligation bonds. Bonds turn what is currently a variable annual obligation, which may decrease from what is currently projected, into a fixed obligation with the issuance of a bond. If CalPERS earns lower than what they expect on investments, the UAL will increase and the city will owe additional annual payments. On the other hand, if after a bond issuance, CalPERS consistently returns more than what they project on investments, the city's pension plan could become superfunded, meaning funds given to CalPERS are more than what is needed to pay retirement benefits, and the city wouldn't be able to retrieve the surplus from CalPERS. And the future UAL will change whether or not a pension obligation bond is issued. Depends on earnings, changes to the discount rate, or revision by CalPERS of underlying actuarial assumptions. In the beginning of 2022, city staff held several workshops with the City Council where we discussed pension obligation bonds. Staff received City Council approval to move forward with issuing bonds at the June 22nd, 2022 City Council meeting. With that approval, a judicial validation process was started, which is a legal requirement to issue the bonds. An answer to the filing was received, which halted the city's ability to issue bonds and resulted in 3 years of litigation. Escondido's case, along with 2 other cities, San Jose and Oxnard, were consolidated and sent for review to the California Supreme Court. Then most recently in December of 2025, the court ruled in all of the city's favor, confirming that pension obligation bonds are constitutional. This ruling confirmed the position that cities have already incurred this debt and owe a liability to CalPERS. So issuing a bond simply changes the structure of the debt that's already owed. So the city now has the legal authorization to move forward with issuing bonds. However, the interest rate market has changed significantly since 2022. So this is a chart provided by the city's bond counsel, Stifel Public Finance. As you can see to the far left, dates back to January of 2022. Interest rates were historically low following the COVID-19 pandemic. After 2022, U.S. Treasury interest rates rose, with 10-year yields climbing from approximately 1.76% in early 2022 to over 4% in 2026, which is shown on the far right of the chart. At that June 2022 City Council meeting, Stifel Public Finance calculated the estimated savings from the issuance of pension obligation bonds. That table on the right shows their calculated savings. It was an estimated $22.5 million over the life of the bonds, which in this scenario were structured to end in the year 2044, in line with the city's current UAL projected payments. Now, due to the change in the market, Stifel provided an update to that calculation, and the estimated debt service payments of principal and interest would actually exceed the annual projected unfunded accrued liability payments forecasted by CalPERS. So this table is similar, shows the total UAL payment to CalPERS compared to the estimated debt service payments with recent interest rates. This next table shows a little bit of how those debt service payments would change given any changes to the interest rate. So a reduction in current interest rates of at least 100 basis points, which is about the middle of the chart, is where the city would start to realize some savings on the CalPERS unfunded accrued liability, estimated at about $8 million. A full drop in interest rates of about 1.5%, then the city would start to realize near what was projected back in 2022, closer to that 19 million. The city's bond underwriter, Stifel Public Finance, is monitoring interest rates on behalf of the city very closely. When the market has adjusted to rates where there is a recommendation to move forward with the issuance of bonds, staff will return to City Council with approval of those bond documents. After that, the city would then need to go through a credit rating process, which is required before the issuance of bonds. A rating agency such as Fitch or Standard & Poor's would evaluate the proposed issuance of debt and provide a rating on the city's overall financial outlook. That process typically takes about 3 to 8 weeks, depending on the rating agency's availability and review time before releasing that rating. The city would then be able to move forward with a bond pricing and sale. So that concludes my presentation. Again, there's no action required by City Council this evening, but I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments on this item? Okay, no comments. I'll open it up to my colleagues for questions and concerns.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for the presentation. It's, pretty thorough and complex, I'm sure. Can you go back to this, maybe 3 slides? Okay, that's fine right there. So we're looking at the use, if you're looking at the footnotes, the use of AA- rating is consistent with the city's issuer credit rating. Is that just the standard? Is there anything?
That, great question. That is specific to the city of Escondido. So the city itself does have one bond, our general obligation bond, that was issued. The initial year escapes me. But when that bond was issued, that is the credit rating that the city received. So that's the basis that our consultants use. If we go through the credit rating process again, that's when the city's financial look would be re-looked at. So there's a possibility that could change if that bond was.
And that's something that we
at.
could consider looking into if we feel that our credit is.
If we want to go through that bond review process, correct.
And how long would that take?
That is the process that takes about 3 to 8 weeks. We have to engage with one of the rating agencies. We'd have to have all of the information available for them. But yeah, it would be about 3 to 8 weeks.
Okay. And well, I'll leave it at that because I don't want to get into the weeds of it. But that's my biggest concern. I guess I'll ask one more. How much of a percentage? I guess we don't really know at this point. But typically, if we're looking at an increase in credit rating, how substantial would that be? Is it worth the 3 to 8 weeks? I guess the answer is always depends. But
In order to issue the bonds, the city would be required to go through that process in order
Either
to
way,
rate
okay.
the pension obligation bonds specifically. So
Okay.
the benchmark here that the consultants use are just to gauge how the market may
Okay.
react to the city issuing bonds, but the pension obligation bond itself would get its own rating.
And Councilmember, I think one of the things is we're prepared when we see a substantial improvement in the interest rate to go through this process,
Correct.
which might have the outcome. I think this is just an update. Right now, even if we had a better credit rating, it would still be a losing proposition. So there's no reason to go through the process. But for example, if we saw a whole percentage point change in that, we would as staff immediately go into that process of evaluation.
And that right, I didn't assume that we would go through the process right now. If we, what percentage change would we be looking at for us to consider reintroducing? I know like in real estate, it's typically at least 0.5%. Is the city a different situation?
For when we would move forward with a pension
Yes.
obligation bond, it would be at least a 1%
At least
drop.
1%, okay.
Yeah, and that's when we would evaluate options. That's what our bond counsel, our bond assistants do, Stiefel. We can look at different models. We don't have to refund or issue bonds for 100% of the unfunded accrued liability.
Okay.
If there's some savings that make sense to just refund the safety plan or a portion of the safety plan to realize some savings, they run those models as well.
Okay. Okay, that's really it for me. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So one closing statement that I just wanted to point to that, if we could go back to the slide that shows the general fund impact in the current year. This is one thing that will be brought forward in a conversation of the budget, is that at this high water mark, when we're being hit this particular issuance, there's approximately a $2.8 million gap from where we were last year to this year, and that will impact general fund revenues and our ability to meet needs. So I just want to point out that is why when we're hitting this crest, we're foreseeing even next year, it's going to be dependent on how well the CalPERS continues to perform in the marketplace. In '25, they performed really well, and sort of these lag a year, and that's why it's dipped a little bit in '24. It'll be, as we go through the year, that's why watching how the bond market performs tells you where CalPERS is typically going to come in its own returns, which helps us press this down in the future. But this year, it's this $2.8 million additional obligation that the general fund is going to have to cover for these costs in the upcoming budget.
So thank you for the presentation. I'm just thankful that this came back. We had been having this discussion a number of years ago, and always with the goal to make sure that we could stabilize and this would be something positive. It's clear that this is not the time for that, but I'm glad that staff is paying attention to that, brought it to us, so we were able to remind ourselves of all that's going on. So look forward to future discussions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to a future agenda. I do have something I'd like to put on a future agenda, and that would be to propose an ad hoc for the replacement process for the city attorney. I would ask for a second.
I'll second.
Perfect. Anybody else have anything they want to add to an agenda?
Yes. So I would like to add a letter of support, consideration for a letter of support for AB 1857, the Grocery Store Access Act. So one of our grocery store, we're one of the areas of San Diego that our Vons closed this month. And some of these stores have restricted covenants. So, so meaning if they leave and close, there's a potential that another grocery store might not be able to come in its place. So this would be able to address those restrictive covenants to ensure that in the future, a new grocery store could take its place. It's getting bipartisan support, and we have until this month, so I would like to put on the...
What'd you say it was? AB what?
It's AB 1857, the Grocery Store Access Act. And I have been getting constituents concerned about that closed Vons and what is going to go in its place and how's the city, respond to that. But I think supporting this legislation benefits our city.
Yeah, I was going to second. Yeah. But I have a quick question. Was that brought to your attention by, I'm sure, like you said, the constituents, but also the League of California Cities?
No, and I'm surprised. I would be surprised if they haven't chimed in. But this was actually brought to me by food and farming advocates.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Because they're working on this as well.
perfect. I agree with it. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, we'll start down at Councilmember Fitzgerald for your subcommittee reports and other reports.
Okay, well, it's been 2 weeks, so I may get some of the dates wrong, so I'll just go over some of the things. Yesterday, I attended the National Tourism Council annual networking here in San Diego County. They picked Safari Park. I attended, and I was able to speak with the chairman, the CEO, about partnering with Escondido with everything that we have to offer and bring tourism to our region. So we'll be in talks with the city manager and hopefully staff sometime soon. On Saturday, I attended the Renaissance Fair at Velocito Park, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. I think they're going to try to extend it one more day, maybe one more weekend. So they're asking for our support when they present that to the county, which I'd be happy to support. Last week, the mayor and I, maybe it was the week before, I'm getting these weeks kind of jumbled up. We attended the Project Next breakfast called School to Career. So it was high school students that are seeking internships, not necessarily seeking college, continuing to college. So you had just a variety of high-level careers there that they were willing to take interns, pay them in the process, and then potentially hire them. And those were, what I really liked about it is that they were North County inland businesses and corporations. So again, try to keep everything here in this area. This was really kind of cool. The Economic Development Subcommittee team, so it was with my colleague, the mayor, and I, we visited this guitar store I didn't even know existed here. It's been here for it's been maybe 50 years that it's been open. The father opened it, I don't know, it's been forever, but it's custom guitars. They've got like this super secret sauce that we couldn't even take pictures in some areas, but it's super successful, and they have people that have had careers there, 20, 30 years that are all local, and they just do so many things. That was a really neat thing to see that we have that here in our city that we can brag about. On the 23rd, I attended a SANDAG meeting, and it was, one of the items that came up was to approve funding bike lanes for the city of San Diego. And there was a problem that I saw with that, in that it was going to cost $5.4 million per mile for a bike lane in San Diego that was on a hill. And that SANDAG was going to be matching what San Diego was going to put into it, which was $1.4 million. So I just suggested we pause on that and see if maybe we could focus on our area, our region, because $1.4 million in Escondido, Valley Center, any kind of emergency evacuations, or see what it is that we could use here, it would go a much longer way than that. So that's going to be coming up this Friday again. Before that, the Saturday before that, I attended the Creek Trail Outdoor Art Gallery reveal. So that was put on by the Esco Alley Art, and it was located at Elm behind in the neighborhood healthcare facility there that's also going to be opening a PACE program for seniors. And Neighborhood Healthcare partnered with Esco Alley Art, donated their wall, and they're going to be installing, they're going to be paying for security cameras, lighting it, and just maintaining it. So it's a really neat partnership to see how local businesses, organizations, nonprofits are partnering with the arts and just beautifying our community. It was really neat. I was joking that the art increased the property value across the creek there because it was beautiful. This Friday, I'll be attending the SANDAG Governing Board meeting in the morning, and then the SANDAG Public Safety Board meeting in the afternoon, and that's all I have to report. Thank you.
I am wearing a mask because I'm a little bit under the weather, so I will hold my reports until next week when I'm expected to be all okay and rather than just start coughing up a storm. So thank you for your understanding.
Okay, this week actually is Build a Better World Week at Conway Elementary. So the deputy mayor and I had an opportunity to go to the school, read some books, have lunch with students and their families, and then speak for a brief second. But it was cool just to see the enthusiasm and excitement of all the students there. I did attend a LAFCO meeting this Monday. We adopted our work plan for the next year. We also got a presentation on a municipal service review for the San Diego County Water Authority that staff had been working on for quite some time, and the commission chose to scrap that altogether and focus on other priorities. Last week I attended the Miss Escondido pageant, as well as the tour at the Guitar Place, which was fantastic. We also attended a career breakfast with Project Next and got to spend an entire morning with a bunch of students looking to jump directly from high school into their careers. And we did have a fireworks subcommittee. When is that coming to City Council? Next week. Okay, so the fireworks ordinance will come to City Council next week. And that will conclude my report.
All right. So I was also at the Creek Trail unveiling. Really cool murals. If you guys haven't had the opportunity to go check it out, it's on Valley and Fig. Really beautiful murals. I was really impressed by the work of the artists there. We also had the Housing and Neighborhood Forum here at the Mitchell Room. It was really good to see attendance, people participating, getting to know what it is that we're doing here in the city. We really focus on the capital improvement projects. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to one of us and we'll be able to answer those questions. Also attended the DBA meeting with the mayor. I think that was really helpful. Those are always really helpful events, meetings, just a really good idea of what not only the DBA is doing, but we let the DBA also know, the Downtown Business Association know what the city's up to. And so it's a really good opportunity for us to all collaborate. We had an ESCO Kiddos fundraiser that the mayor and I were able to attend. That was really good. ESCO Kiddos is a nonprofit in town. They really help with social services for different families, usually immigrant families that are looking for some kind of social help that they might not necessarily want to go to when it comes to staying out of the system. They prefer to go through a nonprofit that oftentimes feel more comfortable with. Arbor Day, I think that was a good event. A few of us were out there planting trees. I think that was a really nice thing to do. It's my third time, maybe fourth time going. I always really enjoy it. You get to meet people that you otherwise wouldn't be able to meet and talk to. And that's always really nice to just have that bonding opportunity. The mayor and I also attended a Boy Scouts event. That was really cool. The Boy Scouts are they really have planted their roots here in Escondido, and I really like it. We had a utility subcommittee as well, just getting the update on what's happening in the city. Things are looking promising right now. We're definitely on the right route, fixing corrections that we had to fix in the past, and that was good. The Clean Energy Alliance, we had a meeting last week as well. Things are on the up and up. Always really impressive what the staff there is doing. They're always innovating. They're always looking at new opportunities. They're looking at different ways to budget, looking at different resource allocations. It's really good. If you guys haven't heard what the Clean Energy Alliance is doing, I really suggest going onto their website and see what it is, how we're acquiring our resources. It's not just SDG&E that controls our energy, but the Clean Energy Alliance does a lot of things. We take a very holistic approach in making sure that we are not only just getting clean energy, but affordable energy as well. We also were at the Thai New Year. That was a lot of fun. My colleague was there as well. I think it's always a really good event. Cinco de Mayo event was on Saturday. It was a great turnout. A lot of people showed up. And that was a very busy 2 weeks. So thank you to my community for the opportunity to serve.
All right, I attended the Graze at the Fields, the Carlsbad Flower Fields. That's an annual fundraiser for the San Diego County San Diego Farm Bureau. Always a great event. There's always farmers, restaurants, anything related to food, nonprofits. It's just a wonderful event to meet your farmers and those who provide our food. I attended 2 Cinco de Mayo celebrations this week, one at Rock Springs Elementary. So one of the family liaisons there, Judith, she's going to be retiring this year, but she organizes this amazing Cinco de Mayo for students and families. And there's hundreds of people that attend. I saw our police department there. Our library was there. So there's about 40 different booths and information. Future Farmers of America are there they had a goat named Penny, really cute goat. Or lamb, should I say lamb? And then I also attended Arbor Day, and we planted some trees there. So we had over 100 new trees in the city. And I also attended the Thai New Year on Sunday, wonderful event, lots of people, amazing food, performances. And then on Monday, we have a Sister Cities subcommittee at 2 o'clock, and I'll also be attending a Cal Cities meeting. And I just want to wish our moms Happy Mother's Day this weekend.
So, Council, next week I will be in South Carolina attending a demonstration at the Institute for Home and Business Safety around ADU safety and high fire severity zones. I will also get the pleasure of bragging on our city staff once again around the Dixon Trails project as folks gather from around the country at this location to hear about the innovative hard work that's going on in Escondido. And sitting for me will be Deputy City Manager Chris McKinney at the meeting next week, because I will be out east.
Public comments continued?
We do. We have a Stewart race.
Good evening. My name's Stuart Reyes. Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. About 4 years ago, I spoke with a City Council member regarding speeding and dangerous traffic in our community, particularly around Montiel Road, Rock Springs Road, Seven Oaks Road, and Borden Road. I expressed concern that these streets needed more attention before someone was seriously hurt. Unfortunately, since that time, lives have been lost on these roads. There is not an isolated area. We have families, a church, a private school, a public school, Rock Springs School, and a public park, and children crossing these streets every single day during the morning and the afternoon. The commute, many drivers use these roads as shortcuts to avoid congestion around 78 and 15 Exchange, often traveling at unsafe speeds. Part of the challenge is that the responsibility is divided between County of San Diego, the City of Escondido, and the City of San Marcos. But the residents that live there in those jurisdiction lines does not reduce the danger and the safety concerns remaining. I respectfully ask the City Council to take leadership in working with all agencies involved to address the speeding and improve safety before another tragedy occurs in our community. Please don't wait for another life to be lost in this area, and I thank you for your time.
Will you make sure your contact information is with the clerk, please?
I will.
Thank you.
And then we have Merrill Burke. Who can bring our microphone?
We can bring you a microphone.
This was unexpected. I was taking the dog to the park and then realized the meeting was occurring. So I have 3 things to touch on real briefly. Sit down, Mel. Sit down. Sit. Okay, I live in Casa de Amigos Mobile Home Park. It is located at 1751 West Citricado Parkway. As you all know, Citricado was widened to have better traffic flow coming out of Harmony Grove and also to the hospital. So long story short, we lost our sign. We have no monument, no sign. No sign that you are entering Casa de Amigos, it's all mountain shadows. Who owns the wall? And who cares who owns it? Let's get a sign. We need a sign going both ways. We had signs when we were a two-lane podunk road. We need a sign. We need two signs. So it's either Mountain Shadows or the City of Escondido, and I respectfully request that you sort this out soon because none of our friends know where we live. You have to pull in and explain it all and then say, now look to your left and you'll start seeing the signs for our home. We allow Mountain Shadows access to our emergency gate and water and things like that. So we just need to work together. It shouldn't be that big of a problem to either get it to be on the wall or possibly just choose cement posts and a sign going down to the ground. Thank you on that. I was going to mention, I had read in the Times Advocate that the council has approved a new 5-story building in Maple Street Plaza. We have a really beautiful sight line of Escondido. You guys are going to get it ruined. You can't get it back. If you allow that building to go up there in that spot, it's going to be horrendous. Architecturally, we don't really see much creativity anymore in beauty in buildings, and besides that, it's right in the middle of Escondido, so I really am against that idea. And if you look down on down the street, going further west, or towards San Marcos, you already see the sign of buildings going up that are 5-story, and they're going to mess up our sight lines. And if we want to grow and be a beautiful city and attract people, we need to keep the city beautiful. So I just wanted you to think about that. And one last thing, and I really appreciate your time today. I hate to bring this up, and I haven't used it, and I haven't gone in there in a couple of months, but the Black Hole of Calcutta, in shameful sight of the mayor's office and the city council, that bathroom is disgusting. It's filthy, dirty. There's no toilets in some of the stalls. They're just, they're blocked off. And I understand that you might be building a new building, so I don't understand how, have you ever not gone by the bathroom and peeked in to see how disgusting and revolting it is? Because it's very shameful. The bathroom, the public bathroom here at Grape Day. Okay, that's it. Does anyone have any questions? Ask me about any of these 3 points. And I've left my contact info. Hi, Mayor. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Nice to see you. It was a nice art show. It was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm done.
Speaking of which, there is some art out there. These are the winners from the Mayor's Art Contest. Please check it out on your way out. It's fantastic. And please stop by the Escondido Art Association to see the entire display. With that being said, this meeting's adjourned.